Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Satsang. Let's make some silence first. So, fundamentals of renunciation. A common subject is pride and arrogance, how to deal with it. And if we look at the precepts of spirituality, of transcendence, because, well, spirituality is a very broad term. It's not so broad, but it has been made very broad. So the precepts of transcendence, it is about as you are fixing your attention in the divine, in God, this character, this human character, is being pulled out from his own story and following a direction, a storyless direction. In certain cultures, when someone followed the path of renunciation, they would make the funeral arrangements because he was dead to the world. What world? Because, well, usually a person is known by a few other persons, not by the whole world. So that funeral arrangement was not to the world, but to his own world, to that individual's world. Those vows that are taken, celibacy, silence, etc., etc. All those vows, they are impediments to participate in the world, in the character's world. And it's not that those arrangements, those precepts are for the world in itself, but for that character. Going to an ashram as a renunciant, there's the aspect of going, yes, this is where the character holds on to, but the leaving part is much more important. And it's about not having where to go back to, so that the character's story ends. In a correct way, for example, this example of going to an ashram, abandoning everything and going to an ashram. Well, from the perspective of the character, there's always this tendency of looking for that which is in its own interest. Because he is adapting, the calling is there for the divine, yes, but at the same time, the worldliness of it is there and is trying to hijack that path towards the divine, making it worldly. All the time is doing this. So he is trying to shift the direction of his life from left to right only, from worldly to spiritual. But still, the character story, still the same individual, just a different context, but in the same story. So one of the difficulties is the aspect of recreating itself again and again. Well, if there's an analogy for the phoenix coming from the ashes, this is individuality. This is what is called ego. All aspects of the spiritual quest, when serious, of course, they are about taking this character from any context, cutting his past, cutting his future, cutting all foods and nurturings, from dreams, expectations, hopes, cutting all this. But it still keeps coming from the ashes, still keeps coming back. When you realize this, you will start helping this, but it's not easy. Because it keeps coming back again and again. So certain steps, for example, if there is a serious calling for abandoning things, for example, let's continue with the example of going to an ashram and leaving the world. Well, when this going to an ashram is frightening, is a frightening calling, not idea. It's different. Ideas, when there is your idea, then it just fits your narrative. Usually there's a calling and fear will be associated with it. So what seekers tend to do is they go to I will use the example of the ashram, but this can be applied in many different circumstances. They will approach the ashram and they will start building a relationship to see if they feel safe, to prepare themselves, and when they are ready, that means when it is useless, then they give the step. Why useless? Because there has been an adapting. It has adapted to the idea, to those circumstances, so it just shifted. So the story of the character also made a bridge from where it was previously to this new circumstance. And opportunity was missed. But even so, there's always other things that are done in the wrong way, because acting in the right way means acting immediately, with no safeties. But even besides that, in this example, other things are taken care of. In some way, there are securities in place in case of I have to go back. And if these securities are set in place, he will go back. Because you have somewhere to go back to. So there's still a purpose. There's still a context. And there's still your interest above all. So there's a reason, there's a point for all these things. And it is to take that character out of context. If you're still fit in this story, then no transcendence. And when you know that this individual character is the perfect analogy of the phoenix, you know that you will have to be extra careful and super questioning your motivations, your intentions. Because real opportunities, they are rare. And if you're not paying attention, you may waste them. And in life, you have a specific amount of time with each birth. And time doesn't go back, whatever that means. So paying attention is crucial so that time doesn't get wasted. So in the same example of going towards to that ashram, there's this taking care of that friends, family, all these people. They know that I'm doing something important. They know that I'm doing something which is reasonable to what that may be possible. That they know that I'm okay. That they know that I didn't lost my mind. That they understand that I'm in control of my life. That they understand that I'm trying to do something great. Without realizing the dependencies that I hold towards each and every one of them. Not realizing that that was not the purpose. And that's not renunciation. Renunciation, the name says it all. I renounce individual life. I renounce the life of the character. This body becomes just a vessel that contains life for this moment. It serves no other purpose. Nothing else to do with that vessel. It's like a bottle that holds water. But it's a bottle that previously it was going from hand to hand and belonging in the context. Now it's just there in a corner, in a shelf, just lying there. No purpose, no useful purpose. And it will remain in that corner for so long that the world will forget about its existence altogether. And the bottle will forget about the world altogether because it is just intensely connected to the divine. So everything in spiritual practice bears the same message. Sit for meditation. You sit, you close your eyes, you say stay still. You abstract from the world's surroundings, everything. You concentrate in the technique, meaning you abstract from everything else. And the point of meditation is to increase the time of sittings, to increase your focus with the divine, your tuning, and to increase your disconnection with the world, with the story. Others will look at you, for example, you're practicing intense meditation, all day sitting, and others will look, what is he doing? What is the purpose of that? Just sitting there doing nothing. It means in their minds, it's not functional, it has no purpose from a worldly perspective. Yes, that is the idea. So the practice of meditation is giving you a very big message. But then creativity comes into play. And you have active meditation. What do you know? And all those things. But the message is clear. In every teaching, it is the same. If you look at the stories, the ancient stories from some of the wise, you will hear wild stories of people behaving like crazy people. Wise men behaving like crazy people. Everybody around would look and they would just see a crazy person. Oh, let him be. It's better to stay away. And that was the point. No way to establish a relationship with that person and create a story and all of that. That was the purpose. And it is, like I said, very difficult because in the back of your mind, a lot of things remain. Even if I'm sacrificing everything, it is for a future. From that point where I will be self-realized, I will stop all of this now until, or your mind picks up that future hope of, even if very subtle from the back of the mind, that you only see if you're looking for that, but it will be there. Invariably, Anyone you ask, what is freedom and what is self-realization? For them, they will give their own definition. And in that definition lies the hopes of the individual character, how it survives. And when you cut all the ideas of future, and you cut your connections with the outside world, your mind picks up the stories you have lived and revives them again and again, taking nurturing from that. It can survive with a lot of food and prosper, but it can survive with very, very, very little food. So in the same way that creativity is there for the survival of the character, that same creativity can be in the hands of the seeker of truth, making sure it doesn't survive. And just because everybody is agreeing on those terms, it doesn't make them correct. What does this mean? I have heard again and again seekers talking about, oh, everything is an illusion. Nothing is real. So why meditating? Why doing all those things? But then, if we continue and go deeper into that rabbit hole, we'll reach the point where the same seeker is going to say, oh, but I need to work for a living. I need to, well, we all have to eat, and the sentence is not I need, it's we all have to, like there's an agreement. But just because there's an agreement, it doesn't make it real. The quest for truth is for the bold ones, the devoted, because only they can see. And whatever ideas you hold in your mind that are not possible, they will not be possible for you. But that doesn't make it an absolute thing. It really doesn't. I will answer your question now. So this question is about it's about meditation. It has been given 3 sittings of 2.5 hours of meditation a day. But it's not being able to. I'm not reading because I don't want to get into specifics. Just a general point and to explain the basis of it, which is the important part. But it is only being able to practice 2 sittings of a total of 5 hours. And every day that I'm not being able to fulfill, I fall. And every day I get up again and try to honor this indication of 3 sittings of 2.5 hours. Is this time to show me that I'm not giving everything to the quest? Is this time to make me come out from discourses and just practice until I'm free from the practice? Surely I didn't ask why this time, but I feel I need to apply that indication without knowing why. Well, it's interesting, but the time is available, so that's not the problem. So what is the problem? The problem is vibration. Vibration. What does this mean? For those who know what meditation is, what is spiritual practice, when you practice, there's different levels of practice of meditation. There's the normal practice when you're just trying to concentrate. Well, in a practice of 2, 3, 4 hours a day, maybe you can go a little bit deep or something like this, but it's something like coming out from the normal functioning of the mind and going a little bit to a more subtle functioning of the mind with all that happens in that level of vibration. And then there is more intense meditation, up to 7 hours, 10 hours, and so on. What does this mean? When you're practicing daily, 7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, you're being forced, you're being pushed out from the normal functioning of the mind, from the normal vibration, where your world subsides. You're being pushed into a higher vibration. And in this higher vibration, the normals of your world, they do not function. They don't function. Things lose their meaning in this higher vibration. So it is very difficult to sustain this. So it's much more important why you are not being able to sit for these 3 times, 2.5 hours, than the why it has been given. Because in this resistance are the obstacles, your real obstacles, that you need to learn to see as an obstacle to be able to transcend. But above all, it is the resistance to that vibration. Because if there wasn't this resistance, you would feel very uncomfortable. You would lose your breath. How do you say this? Not anguish, anxiety would come intense. It's like you can't breathe. Because there's a difference in that vibration. All which is above it rises intensely. becomes visible, screams. So those who have done long retreats, intense retreats, like those 10 days Vipassana and other kinds, but 10 days, 10 hours a day, for example, you will find that your mind plays a lot of games, so much restlessness. There's outer silence, but innerly no silence. And meditation, 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 noise, 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 noise. Sometimes there is freedom from that. There's greatness, elevation, but still continues. It is the struggle. This is the mind fighting with that vibration, making sure that you don't touch it. And when you touch it, it will do everything to get out from it. In light practice, you don't see a lot. In intense practice, this is where you see. This is where you observe your obstacles, your limitations, if you're looking for them. And if you're smart, you will be looking for it, because if you're smart, you're already seeing that you're the only obstacle. You, what you think you are, that individual character. So when guidance is given like this one, 3 hours sitting, you do the 3 hours sitting, and by doing them, to be able to do it, you will have to go through your obstacles. Either the practice remains and the obstacles disappear, are transcended, or the obstacles remain, the practice doesn't. This is your reality now. And to have a clear vision, you have to make the sittings and to live experience. What can we do with the vibration? It's not something that you do with, it's not a tool. You know, I will give an example. You pick up a very dirty piece of cloth, dirty, stained. You put some detergent on it and you put it on water with detergent, better hot water, with strong detergent, and you leave it there. And as it stays in that water, the longer it stays, the more those stains will start to melt and dissolve, and the more it becomes possible to rub it and to take it out. This is the same with vibration. As you maintain yourself in a higher vibration, everything there in yourself, which is from a lower vibration, will have to rise. So negativities that are there, everything from a lower vibration, will have to be purged out. They cannot remain, both cannot remain. A higher vibration cannot be in the same presence of a lower vibration. If they are occupying the same space, one will influence the other. Either the lower vibration falls down, either the higher vibration falls down or the lower vibration rises. And to be able to rise, it has to transform. All that which is lower will have to be purged out. Mentally, emotionally, physically. So intense periods of meditation, they are for this reason. Because it forces vibration to rise. And the more you remain at that higher vibration, the more of your lower vibration gets purged out. And it's like layer by layer. Like in a circle, from where the outer part of the circle is the gross vibration and the inner part is the subtle one. So it goes layer by layer, coming closer to the core. And as it is reaching, as it is frightening and threatening the world of the character, then it's where it becomes unbearable. But unbearable, the appearance of being unbearable, doesn't necessarily mean that it is unbearable. But in practical terms, many times it does, because there's no preparation to withstand that. But as you strengthen yourself through the practice, through the real practice, as you go through the practice, you will strengthen yourself, and eventually you'll be able to go through that which seems unbearable, suffocating, claustrophobic. So maintaining these periods, this high vibration, it is a need, but it is difficult. And in this case, this is what's being resisted. So these two sittings, they can still fit like in a, well, it's not as it was, but there's still a connection with what it was. That third sitting, it's not fitting. It could be a fourth sitting or a fifth sitting. It doesn't matter. What matters is finding the limit. And for sure, in this case, this third sitting is threatening in some way your world, and this is why it's not happening. You have been able to deal with the vibration so far, but more of it you're not going through. But it was guidance. You were directed to do the 3 sittings. So why aren't you doing them? Let's look at from another angle. Guidance is guiding to transcendence. It means it is directing you, giving you the direction to transcend your limitations. And what is the point of guidance if instead of you holding on and doing what was indicated, you are holding on to your reality and protecting it? Well, your message to guidance is, well, I don't need it, I don't want it, I'm better like this. Surely there's no point of guidance saying something if you're not following it. Do you understand? With all practice, you are giving the message of your intent. If you're doing the practice, you're saying, yes, this is what I want. Freedom is what I want. If you're not doing the practice, you're saying, that's not what I want. Freedom is not what I want. If you're honoring guidance, you're saying that this is very important. Guidance is very important. If you're not honoring it, you say you're dismissing the importance of guidance. So what is the point of being there? So you're always affirming, showing, revealing your intent. Even those, it's not just about the practice of meditation. It's everything, because meditation will bring you a lot of things, yes, for sure, but it will also bring you challenges. Not just in the practice, but in the rest of the time. So, for example, you have a pride situation, too much pride and arrogance that you need to fix. Well, your meditation, if you're maintaining the practice of meditation, intensifying it, you're saying, no, I want to transcend that. But then your meditation will bring you situations in your life that will damage your pride, that will damage your arrogance. And if you're rejecting those situations, what is the message that you are giving? You are giving, yes, I still continue with my practices, so I really want that freedom. But at the same time, the fruits of it that are coming with the challenges needed for me to damage this pride and arrogance, this is being rejected. So it means that this quest for freedom is about pride and arrogance. And you cannot compromise one if it is the goal. If my goal is pride and arrogance, how can I sacrifice it in the middle? It's easy to understand. In intense practice, everything is revealed, everything is seen, if you want to see. When you don't want to see, this can be explained and explained and explained, and you will forget it, and you will not understand it, and you will transform it into something else. Can we rise our vibration by doing meditation for 20 minutes? My friend, I'm not sure that I'm the most suitable one to answer that question, because at least 5 hours meditation, at least for 5 hours. Less than that, I don't even consider it. And it's at least going at the level of 2 hours at a time and increasing it to 2 hours and a half. 20 minutes is nothing. This may be good in these ideas of the therapeutical aspect of meditation or something like that, but that's nothing. Nothing. But I understand that, okay, 20 minutes is better than nothing. But what does this mean, better than nothing? It is in a very troublesome, twisted vision of spirituality. And it is on this vision that you'll do 20 minutes now, then your mind will change over time, and then you'll become more serious and la 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 la. Each one with his own purpose. This is not what I'm addressing here. My words are for those who are serious and hardworking and with the desire for liberation. So from this perspective, 20 minutes is nothing. You'll have to increase it a lot. And look, you have 24 hours available in a day. 24 hours available in a day. That means from that period, if you're sleeping 6 hours, so you'll have 18 hours available. From those 18 hours available, the way that you are using it, we can look at the 24, but let's stick at the 18. The way you are using it is the message you are sending of what you really want. So if you're using 20 minutes, let's call it for your quest for truth, but we couldn't because we couldn't. Okay, but let's do that for the exercise of detachment. So that would mean 17 hours and 40 minutes investing in the opposite direction. Do you understand the logic? The problem is losing attention. Nobody loses attention. Nobody loses attention. Attention tends to go where it is really more important. So this is why there are spiritual precepts, for example. People say, oh, I know what is right to do, but I'm not being able to do it. But why is there those spiritual precepts? They are there. They are as a ladder for you to climb. So knowing what is right is the first step. Doing it is rising the ladder from where you stand to where you know it's right to go. So meditation, 20 minutes is 1 hour is difficult, for example, but you know it's better than 20 minutes. By going there, intensifying that direction, you will have to transcend your obstacles, physical, emotional, mental, it doesn't matter. And by seeing where attention is diverting, you will see what is precious in your world. And that gives you an opportunity to cut it from the root in other spheres. This is why it's there. So applying yourself to what you know it's right, it's a must. And when there's guidance, if you want to honor guidance, you have to follow what is telling you. You deal with the consequences. But you go through it. That's how it's done. And remember, the way you're using your time is giving the clearest message. So, in those 17 hours and 40 minutes, in those 18 hours, if you're calling for God, tell Him how important He is for you, how it is the only thing that you care about for 20 minutes, and in the rest of the time you're saying the opposite. What will be the most strong message? Why would the divine care about that? You're satisfied there, you just continue. And usually those 20 minutes, they are just to bring a relief, to improve your quest, your worldly quest. This is what this therapeutical aspect of spirituality. It's not that worldliness is the disease. It's not. It's not a disease. Spirituality is an enhancement of worldliness. It is there to enhance it, to improve it, to make it better. So let us meditate 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on the greed, to improve worldly life, to achieve these worldly goals. And this couldn't be more far away. More far away. Your time is precious. And the way you're using it shows what this precious means to you. Many of the seekers that are calling for God is for God intervention in their lives to make their lives better. So it's like, God, come to me, come into my life. I just want you, and all these sweet words, very nice words. God comes, okay, I'm here. Oh, help me in this situation. Oh, but weren't you calling for me? Okay, so I come back another time. Then I come back another time, and I come back another time. Then your callings will, oh, he's calling, but this is for the same old. So then it will take time to answer again. The way you're using your time gives the clear message of what you really want, of what is important for you. And for a seeker of truth, it's no different. It has the same attachments and everything, but the difference lies that when he is hoping, when he is investing his time, he is observing. When thoughts are coming incessantly to disturb the silence, to disturb peace, he is observing them, and he knows you are here, so I'll have to deal with you in all ways possible. And he gets creative to deal with that. So in the motivations and goals that arise, that manifest, that he sees, he stops working for them. As he is observing them, immediately starts the cutting. Okay. So for today, it's enough. If you have questions about this, you can send whenever you're watching this video. Next satsang will be Wednesday, 9 a.m. Brazilian time, UTC -3. Till then, make the best use of your time. Lots.